Welcome to the Overcome Podcast. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, all right, here we go.
Oh,
We're
man.
Hey, yeah.
This guy. Damn, I should have grabbed my vape.
Oh, yeah, huh? My bong's out of reach.
So we got a nice little episode for you here with some stuff we're going to cover about how to peak for a meet.
Yep.
Meet day essentials. What would you like to bring? Some greatest influence of the sport.
Yeah.
We're going to finish off with a spicy story rather than a question at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
the man Dubs
nice
himself.
little prison story for you guys.
All right, brother. Let's go ahead and get started here.
Yes, sir.
All right. So first off, we're going to go over is peaking for a meet.
Very important.
What would you like to bring? So getting ready for meets it's definitely tricky, and it's going to be based off of your personal experience of how you actually train. That's going to be one big thing. And then how or what level of lifter you are, because there's different types of peaking, but they're all generally going to be the same when you get ready for a meet. Dubs, in your experience here, what would you say would be a good time frame to start your peak for a meet?
Well, actually, you know what? Even with it depends on the person, but a lot of the main guys I work with, we kind of start about 6 to 8 weeks out. Like,
Yep.
Depending on what we're doing or who I'm working with. Like, for instance, I got Cody Blazek, deadlifting and stuff on Instagram. He's getting ready for the U.S. Open for his third year in a row, and I've prepped him. This is his third U.S. Open I've prepped him for, and then we've also prepped for this is the second U.S. Open I've prepped him for. Third one I'm helping him at, and then two tribute meets that we prepped for. We all did phenomenal. We pretty much do the same approach every time, and we don't start until 8 weeks out. We start 8 weeks out, and that's when we taper for the meet, peak for it every time, 8 weeks. We don't do 12 weeks, 10 weeks. It's always 8. And that's always seemed to be pretty much exactly what I need, because really, he's building his strength in the off season the whole time. So he's building all his strength up, Then when it's like, okay, we're getting 2 months out for a meet, now we're going to kind of switch gears and focus more on the specifics, hitting some heavy doubles, then some singles, and then working up to a peak, getting close to that, 90 to 95% range. And then we're ready to rock.
Yeah, I agree. So generally, I think around 12 weeks or so, that's usually when my training starts to switch. It changes. It just starts to taper in from an off-season style into more of a peaking phase itself. So generally, about 8 weeks is when I get going and get repped. I can get ready whenever fuck I want to.
You really, and you're actually right. And that's how it should be. You should be able to get ready to go at any time. It's like Louis Simmons says. He trains his guys to be ready to hit be at their best, their optimal 100% at any given time, their strongest. But you can, and that's because, one, you're confident in your strength. Two, you train properly, you don't overdo it. So at any time you can be like, hey, I'm going to do this meet. It's 6 weeks out. You could get ready for it right then and there.
Yeah, that's what I love about training with Josh Bryant too. Is like, I feel like my off-season work gets me ready for any point in time. If I want to jump into shit, I can just switch it like that whenever I want to, and I fucking love that. I just love being able to be prepared and being ready to just knock some shit out whenever I feel like it.
Yes,
that is probably one of the most fun parts in switching from off-season into a peaking phase.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like you said with Josh Bryant, dude, he does a phenomenal job with everybody he works with, and that's why I am very blessed to have worked with him and been able to learn as much as I have from him, because it's helped in all my preps that I've worked with. And I pretty much stick to the same. I prep pretty much every person the same way. I don't change the wheel or make anything crazy. It's just a simple progression. That's all it is. It is so basic. People make their preps like way overly complicated. Then they get to the meet and then they crash and burn. They're like, well, I did all this stuff, and it's like, well, it's probably all that stuff you were doing. It's why you fucked up. And more is not better. Prepping is boring. Anybody that's prepped with me knows it's very repetitive, and it's a lot of the same shit. It's boring, and that's how it is. But if you want to, you're training for that one glorious moment on the platform. Mm-hmm. So who gives a fuck what the hell's going on for the 8 weeks prior to that? You need to be focusing on just getting strong, doing what is necessary, not doing fancy shit.
Now, for say we're getting into, say we start like about 8 weeks out and stuff. What would you say would be a good? Well, generally, I would switch out, take the volume down a bit from the actual off season stuff, and up the intensity. That's where my intensity starts to peak up a little bit. The
Yeah.
reps start going from down like below fives and stuff to I'm doing triples mostly. I usually start around round 4 triples whenever I start around that 8 week phase. Is that something you normally implement with your clients as well?
You're saying like what reps and I stick to?
Yeah. So
like,
if we started like
yeah.
at 8 weeks, you start like start around the triple range and stuff like that, and then progress it down into the heavy singles.
Yeah, so then that's pretty much it. I'll start out, and we know if we're 8 weeks out, we might do a top set of 3 at like 80 some percent or whatever it may be, and then the next week we're hitting either another triple at maybe 1 to 3% heavier, and then then we might come back and do a double, and then it might just be a couple weeks of singles, and then we hit our opener, and then we rest and we go for it. So like me, I always finish the very last heavy deadlift. The last heavy deadlift they do is usually 3 weeks out, 2 or 3 weekends prior. And then their last heavy squat and bench is the week before. Right. And then, the 2 weeks prior. And then the last week or whatever, let's see, it'd be not meet week, but the week before meet week would be hitting your openers.
Yeah.
And then the week before that, you'd be hitting your last heavy single on bench and squat, and then deadlifts. And sometimes, people think that they need to hit a PR in their prep. You don't. You do not. That's so asinine. Like, you don't have to be. That's usually means you fucking you peak too soon. If you're hitting a PR in your fucking prep, like right prior to your meet, that's not good. Yeah. You don't need to be going that heavy. Like me and Cody, like I was saying, we know at a number that we're going to stop at. We'll be like, we don't need to hit any higher than this in this prep, and that's how we do it.
Right. So yeah, it's generally like whenever I get into mine doesn't really start off at heavy triples. Like for me personally, they start off at heavy single. That's where I'm always fine tuned at a heavy single.
Yep.
So when I'm getting into that deal about 6 weeks out, I'm already doing singles at that point because my top set is usually generally a big single, and then I have big progressive jumps every week or so.
Yeah.
Depending on how it went, and then my secondary and my third lift. I guess my secondary, they're all usually somewhat of the variation of the main lift. So I start reinforcing the technique also behind it, also do the speed work and reinforce the technique after the fact of that as well. So I build that up through my warm-ups, practice the technique, hit that one single, practice the technique afterwards, and do it in the speed range and into stuff like pauses and another secondary part for that to work with. So generally for me, it's always when I get to that point, it's just single all the way to that point. And I do these bigger percentage jumps more or less based off of my feedback for the week. Yeah. If it, if I'm hitting like a 7 or something like that, it's way too light, and we know it's already starting off well. Yep. So that's the confidence in that is just fucking.
And that's the thing in there. You said key word, dude. Confidence. Like confidence is big. Like when you're going into your prep, you should already be confident about your strength. Like one of my biggest pet peeves I see people do is they will go off program and go off plan to hit some heavy fucking weight just because they're like, oh man, I was feeling really good today. So I was like, I needed to feel this weight just so they can still be confident that they're strong. It's like, why are you even doubting your abilities in the first place? Like, why are you even questioning your strength? You should never say that. You should never have to go off program to be able to feel weight to make sure your confidence is still good.
But what about my Instagram?
Know that if I'm smoking this shit, if I'm hitting these sets every week, I'm getting stronger.
But what about my Instagram and my followers? They gotta
fuck your Instagram. Your Instagram died. You already know that.
They know I gotta peak. I gotta get my likes. I gotta get my follows.
Fuck.
I gotta get my reposts on the main page.
That's another problem. Meat prep essentials. Drop your fucking Instagram.
Oh my god!
Stop trying to fucking impress people during your meat prep. Impress them with the fucking platform.
I fucking hate it. I hate my social media so much, but I gotta keep up with it for reasons. But man, when I get in fucking prep, man, I start to like I post here and there, and it's just like I don't have time. I just mentally don't have time to invest into all the shit that comes with it.
Social media is fucking exhausting, dude. It is. And especially with the new algorithms and stuff now, it's not, you don't get to post something. It doesn't get as much generate. It doesn't generate as much as it did used to. You got to be posting shit that everybody wants to be or see.
And I don't. I'm not. You know what? I'm not posting my top sets in my next meet. Fuck all that. I'm just gonna post my fucking warm ups.
Just like
my first one or two
random accessory sets.
Exactly. I'm just that's all you get. That's all you get. I'm just gonna fucking show up.
Nobody gets to see your big lifts.
Yeah, fuck all that. I'm just gonna show up to some random fucking meet, bumfuck nowhere, and then just fucking break all the world records.
Well, that's how it is, though. That's how it is. Looking at my fucking analytics, if I posted a deadlift or a bench or a squat, my views and likes were through the fucking roof
all the time.
But if I posted like an educational type post or training something, a topic or whatever, they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
they didn't give a fuck.
It's dumb, but whatever.
They just want to see the deadlifts.
Exactly. So for meet day stuff, essential wise. Say the last 4 weeks you go into, okay, so we're getting ready, prepping, and we get the heavy deadlift done, get the heavy squat and heavy bench done the week prior, and then last week is a heavy squat or heavy bench, depending on your client.
Yeah,
normally I take my last heavy bench my last week before my last heavy squat the 2 weeks out.
Some people even have their clients hit their last heavy lift the week of the meet.
I don't know.
I can't do that. I'm like,
that week of the meet, it's like 30%, if that. It's all rest done by Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yep.
So meet week, fucking 30% or so. And I don't do any. It's just little maintenance technique stuff, and I'm fucking out of there. Main thing is to go home and rest.
Yeah.
Aside from
that's your recharging your CNS, getting ready for the big
PRs.
day.
People would be hitting PRs or their openers that week of the meet. I'm like, that's crazy. I've never hit my openers for meet ever.
Yeah.
They've always generally been there, because I never really have like a focus of, okay, this is what I'm dealing with and this is what I'm gonna do. I start picking up my openers and stuff probably about a couple weeks out.
Yeah.
Based off of where I think my third attempt's gonna be, and I start that backwards attempt. So this is where I think I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna go for my second attempt here, and my first attempt's gonna be right here. And it's usually something I can probably do in my sleep anyway.
Yeah.
So that one's really light.
That's how you want it to be.
And then my base jumps are anywhere from between 25 to 39 pounds, I believe it is. I don't get any higher than 40-pound jumps at a meet.
That's good.
I do that for in training, they're always like 80, 90-pound jumps anyway. But in a meet, it's always generally no more than 40. And for my bench, it's usually no more than like 25 per jump on my bench.
Being smart.
And then deadlifts, I jump a little bit higher on deadlifts, and that's normally how I warm up. Also, I jump higher on my deadlifts too. So
deadlifts, and usually people can jump a little higher.
I can go for broke on deadlifts. Man, I fucking 771 to 837 that one meet. It felt amazing, and I was already prepared for it, so I could do it.
Yeah.
It's just I had to make those adjustments, and being ready in the meet is also one of those things that you need to be prepared for. Is also picking your attempts beforehand, having an idea. So don't go in there with just, these are my openers here, I don't know where I'm going to land. I normally go in the mindset of, this is where I'm going to land. I know that's where I want to be at. Let me count backwards and then make sure I can nail my attempts. And I'm going to use my first 2 attempts as the warm-up, essentially, to get to the third one. So my second attempt can usually be around a PR.
Yeah.
Or maybe just short. And then my third attempt is usually the PR, somewhere where I haven't hit before or close to it. And depending on where I am in the meet and how I feel, I always have a secondary, hey, if you fuck up, take this attempt list.
Yes.
I always keep that. So I only don't keep my main 9 attempts. I keep my other attempts. So I got another 18 attempts basically. So
having a plan of everything and having a little backup plan is what you want to do. Like, you don't want to go in and just be like, I'm just going to go off whatever. You definitely want to have some weights in mind you want to hit, some attempt selections that you want to hit, but you also want to be like, okay, if I hit this opener and it goes this or this way, I need to have a kind of an idea which direction I want to go. Either I'm going to go for this on my second, or I might back it off a little bit due to this or that. You got to listen to your body. Sometimes, you might have a plan of attempts in place, but, if you don't feel right on a lift before, or something doesn't go right, you got to make an adjustment. The body's telling you something. So sometimes you might not be able to hit that second attempt you wanted to, and you might have to be a little more conservative. But it's just all about being smart in your attempt selections and making the best attempts possible so that you can have the biggest total. Because sometimes if you just try to go exactly how your plan is set and you negate what your body's telling you and things that go on during the attempts, you can really fuck yourself.
Yeah. And for the most part, if you prep properly and you don't usually go off a plan, normally your attempt selection should be sufficient on every attempt, and you should be able to hit that, or at least close to it. The average deal, I believe, is to go 7 for 9 for a meet. Generally go 9 for 9. You didn't push hard enough. Sometimes you do push hard enough and you do get all those attempts.
Yeah.
But generally, 7 out of 9 attempts is where you want. Anything below that, you fucked up somewhere, either in your attempt selection or your prep beforehand, in your rest and stuff. So that's when you need to go back to drawing boards and like, hey, I need to recorrect this stuff here.
And you shouldn't be if you get like, if you did a really good job prep, and this is another thing that pisses me off when I see people prepping, is they'll not pay attention to the technicality of their lifts. Like, is your squats deep enough? Are you pausing on your bench? Are you holding a little longer on the deadlift? Are you making sure you're not hitching? Like, there's shit that people don't think about or try to fix going into their meets. They're just fucking worried about how strong or what the number is. They're not thinking about technical issues. So then they get in the meet and then they end up going like 4 for 9 or 3 for 9 because they, only got one attempt at every freaking at each lift because they got red light on their squats because of depth or whatever, and bench because they missed commands or some shit, or who knows what.
Those are what we call small mental errors. Those are things that easily corrected if you just fucking addressed in the first place.
Yes.
Because of whatever asinine ego reason.
And when you're also doing a meet too, you don't want to be overly amped up. You want to be focused on what's going on. You don't want to be burning up all your energy on the sideline trying to keep yourself fucking hyped. You'll see some people slapping themselves and freaking out and screaming and blah, and then they fucking shit the bed. It's like, focus, stay calm, gather yourself, plan to unleash everything you got on the lift.
Now, speaking of that, since we're talking about meet day essentials and stuff like that is also a meet day essential, not just the fuel for the food in the day, but meet day essentials. So getting ready and prepping for a meet, I mentally prep for a meet starting 2 months out, the 8 weeks out, right? And by the time I get into the second week out, and then the week of the meet, I'm playing a mental movie of me making these attempts, me lifting these weights, me hitting these specific numbers. And I play this movie constantly. So the point I usually can't sleep very well. And that sleeping is definitely one of the most essential things for me too. But aside that, I start to get antsy. So it's just like playing football for me. It's like the night before, you want to stay up and stuff. You just can't sleep.
Nope.
So for me, I try to get in as much sleep aid as possible beforehand, at least a couple days out. And I try to get as much sleep as possible because I can't sleep. And I mentally am playing this movie over and over. I'm just mentally checked out of everything else, work included, and just wanting to play this meet over and over in my head. And that's when I start playing these mental games for myself. So when I get there, it's definitely I can talk to you normally. I can bullshit here and there, but as soon as that fucking deal goes and I need to start my warm-ups, I'm fucking switched on. And a lot of that generally comes from me being able to meditate and focus before the meet even happens. So whenever I go, I try to do my meditation before I go to bed, start to clear my mind of everything else, but then also play that one mental movie. And then the night before the meet, I generally like to try to get in bed, get a big meal, tries to make me go to sleep easier, and try to relax and not think about the meet whatsoever the night before. Until that alarm goes off, and once that deal clicks off, I start putting on the fucking rock music and shit. Playlist that goes. And it's not like a fucking balls to the wall playlist. There's some softer songs mixed into but it just gets me amped up.
You're just focusing. You're getting in the zone. You're centering yourself.
I start fucking getting fired up right fucking now.
Yeah.
I get in the shower, get everything fucking taken care of, get my shit packed. I head over to the venue. I find my spot. And then I see how many people are all, doing what, where they're at, and I start calculating. I start the methodical starts to fucking click. I see everything out. I see all the lifters. I see what fucking flight I'm in. I start calculating this many people in this flight, this many flights are in, this how much time I got to warm up, and then I go fucking relax.
Yeah.
I go sit and wait until it's my time to go.
Plan, get all your shit in order, and then go chill.
And then as soon as I put on the fucking meet day playlist, boom, it's fucking over. That's when I amp the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't even fucking take pre-workout now before my squats. Because I forget, I've forgotten to take it the past 3 meets I've done.
Yeah.
I get so
You
fucking
realize you
amped
don't
up,
even need
I
it.
fucking forget. So I start warming up. I get my stretch, start warming up. I'm fucking amped to the max. I can fucking just,
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
And that's the thing right there, dude. Speaking of that, you know, like a big thing people do during the meet is they take too many stimulants.
Oh,
you know, like you don't need to be fucking overstimulating yourself, because by the time you get to bench and deadlift, you're fucking burnt out. You're pumping all this pre-workout, like, oh, I need more.
Yeah, so if you're going to take pre-workout beforehand, you take like half a scoop or a quarter,
yes,
get a little in there,
dose.
And then when it comes after squats, that's where I go lay down. I don't go to sleep or anything. I don't know how people do that.
Yeah, you just chill out.
I go sit down, and I usually generally don't eat much before a meet. The last couple meets, I've eaten half a banana. I've eaten part of an apple.
I never ate.
I've gotten down a quarter of a bagel. Right before the meet starts, and then after squats are over, that's generally when I can have a little bit more food. I get maybe a full banana in, maybe a muffin.
Yeah.
Somebody, hey, I got muffins. I'll take one. Like, and then I start snacking on gummy worms and shit. A little bit small things I can start to. It's easy. I can just chew a little bit and then just swallow it. Like bananas, the easiest fucking thing to take. Granola, those fucking Oak Valley granola bars, they fucking crumble. Oh my, they just crumble. So it just chug the fucking bag. And it's easy to just get those shoot up a little bit and just swallow them, because I don't generally like to eat. So after squats, I get a little bit of food and I'm good. I chill out, get ready for bench.
Yeah.
Starts all over again. Amped up, bench goes through, done with bench, and then generally I don't eat a lot again. I still have a couple of snacks.
Yeah.
And then right before I get ready for deadlifts, that's when I take maybe a full scoop of pre-workout or any other kind of hype supplements that I can get my hands on.
Adderall.
Right before. Fuck all that.
Right before. I never took pre-workout. I always used Adderall. I just take half a tab in the morning, and then I was fucking zooted.
No, so after that for deadlifts, that's the last fucking lift of the day. So it's all you got. I just fucking I amp it up as much as possible, and then fucking if you a little bit of trend, who knows?
A little bit of trend. My blood pressure's through the roof.
Half cc, 1 cc, 2 cc. Yeah, who knows? By then it's about 800 milligrams.
Well, shit. I mean, not even okay. So on the topic of gear, that's another thing too. Like when it comes to your gear and stuff, you got to have very, very, very short ester gear if you're going to use it on meet day. Test suspension, test no ester. There's that new that's Ment, that trend something. Test trend, whatever it's called, Ment. That's another one that you could use the day of. But like Tren Ace, Test Probe, those are all ones you want to inject the day before, because they're going to be hitting their peak the next day or the later on that day. And it's always good. It's definitely, that's another. Cheek drops is always popular, but that has a lot
Never tried it.
Dude, that gets your blood pressure way too
far.
Fuck
all that.
That's doggy birth control. That's what that shit is. Birth control for dogs.
Methyltrends are the highest one that I've gone. And that shit is.
And this is the thing too, right? And this, speaking, guys, when you're doing your meat prep too, you don't need to be running crazy amounts of gear, for long periods of time. You can start your test or whatever, anything around 8 weeks too. It'll be just fine, especially with trend. Don't run trend for 10, 12 weeks. Run trend for like 4 or 6 weeks max. I don't even think 6 weeks is fine. Man, 4 weeks is more than you really need. I always ran trend for 2 weeks out. That's it. The last 2 weeks of my prep is when I would start it, because that shit, if you get good trend, it is very strong and it will do what you need it to do at a moderate dose. You don't need to take it every fucking day.
Bro,
I got guys, you'll see them at the meets, dude. They'll get there and their skin will be so fucking red.
Red.
You'll be like, God damn, his it looks like he either tans too much or what, but they'll be so beat red. And that's because their blood pressure is just
Bro, I did that one time, and I could feel like it was just seeping out of my skin.
Yeah,
I felt like, but now I could taste it, I could smell it. It just
seeping out of my skin. It probably was.
Oh my! I could feel like my blood was like syrup. I could feel it.
Fuck, I thought you were fucking way over. Yeah, I thought you were fucking something was wrong with you that time when we were in Louisiana.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, goddamn, dude. Everything was seeping out of you.
God. Man,
If y'all, it's y'all, we've told this story before about the Louisiana thing, but if you guys were there and saw how bad he looked, you thought he was going to die. You literally thought this fucking guy was going to die. I've never seen someone look so shitty and still compete.
and still PR.
Fucking impressive.
Still PR.
Fucking, and we thought he blew his shoulder out and tore your bicep at one point.
I PR'd my squat and my total.
Yeah. And you were late to the meet.
Oh, fuck, bro. I took 3 warm-ups.
I know.
3 fucking warm-ups. I got there, and they fucking already started, and I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, it was in that fucking basketball, that gymnasium.
Holy fuck, bro. I fucking took, I want to say 2 regular warm-ups and sleeves, 1 in wraps, and it was like, all right, well, I'm ready to go. I'm going to go squat 820.
What color was your hair that day?
I had the top knot with the it had like the brownish blondish tips.
Yes, yeah.
And the coloring had faded out, so I never colored it back in after I colored it back from purple or whatever.
Yeah.
And the black faded out, so I just left it there. It just made me look like I was been in the sun all the time. So I was like, this is cool. I'll just fucking leave it. Who cares?
That was the first Southern Strength Showcase. That's what that was.
Yeah.
The very first Louisiana Southern Strength Showcase, hosted by what's her name? Kimberly.
Yep, Kimberly Brooks.
Yes, that's her.
Whew, man, it was rough. I was like, I'll never do that again.
Good meet.
I took so much shit that day just to try to counteract what was happening, just to see if I could salvage some shit, and I just kept puking all over the place. Yeah, I was like, well.
Yeah, you were a mess.
My fucking bench suffered. Bench suffered, but my fucking deadlift was still there at the end.
What did you bench?
573, I think.
Oh yeah, your bench really suffered.
I know. I was planning to go 600.
Really suffered.
So I dropped my opener.
But even going 600 then, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Going 600 then was big.
Yeah. Fuck it. We got bigger fish to fry now. We're gonna move on to the.
I hope we actually covered the topic.
We did. We already got.
Okay. Yeah. Meat day essentials.
Meat day essentials. I mean, besides that, I think we covered the food before. I just normally bring small snacks.
Oh yeah.
Oats,
I barely eat during the meet. You want to eat high protein, high fats. You don't want to eat a ton of carbs.
Yeah.
Eating a shit ton of candy is not the best thing to do during a meet because it spikes your blood sugar levels and then you crash. So while it's fun to eat a bunch of candy, it's not always going to be the best thing for your performance. Stick to fruits and meats and fats.
I eat the same amount of candy I do normally, so I don't crash.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem.
Always smart. I see guys smash a whole fucking bag of.
Yeah, I know. I don't do that.
Jesus, all this candy.
Yeah, they'll do all that candy that like the whole fucking trash. I have a little bit here and there.
It's okay to have it, but it's like you give your body some nutrient-dense foods on a meet day when you have to fucking lift. It's like
they'll bring a full bag, a family-sized bag of fucking gummy bears and shit. I'm like, yeah.
I mean, I love candy. I mean, I love candy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna eat chocolate. I'm gonna eat like sugary shit, like gummy worms and shit. They're just easy.
It's got to be gluten-free licorice from.
I mean, you could just swallow gummy worms. Yeah.
Ew.
Easy. I don't have to. Yeah.
I'm not a gummy worm fan. I'm all about the gluten-free licorice right now.
I fucking hate you and your fucking gluten.
It's organic.
Oh my god.
It's organic gluten-free licorice. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, hey Sophie, can you come here? Let me eat your ass before I do my deadlifts. That usually works.
Yeah, of course that works. Duh.
That's anabolic.
That's very anabolic.
So we're gonna move on to the next deal with the who would you say your greatest influences are in the sport? It don't have to be just a sport. Greatest influences in life or in the sport of powerlifting.
Just like yeah. Honestly, man, like when it comes down to greatest influence, it's my dad. Like my dad's by far my greatest influence. That may sound very cheesy and tacky to some, but it really is true because he's a hard-working fucking guy. And in our hometown back in Nebraska, it's a small town of like 11,000 people. Everybody knows him. Everybody respects him to the fullest. He's owns his own company. He's got land. And he doesn't waste his money. He don't blow his money on bullshit. He buys his clothes from the Indian Mission. He fucking buys all his cars from the auction. Even all of his equipment for his company is bought and used. He doesn't buy stuff brand new. He doesn't have credit cards. None of that. He's someone I really, really look up to because he just doesn't get sucked into all the bullshit of the world today. And, he lives a really good life out in Western Nebraska, and he works really hard. And I love that. He's very successful, and I want to be like that. And he was such an amazing dad. I want to be this same way my dad was to me. It's awesome. So yeah, my dad was one of my biggest influences.
I feel bad for not saying my dad.
No, dude, you don't because I was going to say like Josh Bryant and some other guys, but really it's my dad.
If we're not going to pick powerlifting first, outside of powerlifting.
Outside of powerlifting.
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. He's one of the just because he's so transparent of not only just his work, but I've always watched him since I started like watching wrestling. He's always been there since Rocky Maivia.
Yeah,
and I'm getting all the way through to The Rock, and now he's doing all these blockbuster movies. But he's a great father and is a good spokesperson for everything.
He is, and he's all about his word. And I love everything he does is awesome and just motivating and positive.
His hometown and stuff like that. He's always about that mana, and that is just. It's just super inspirational. Just
dude,
who he is, and then how he treats everybody.
He treats everybody super cool
with big respect. So that's definitely one of my. Besides, and he's fucking jacked.
Yeah, he's very jacked and he's old. He's jacked and old. But again, how could you not pick Bobby Hall?
Oh, come on.
He's jacked and he's old.
He was jacked in his time.
Bobby your dad was a wrestler.
I know. Ah! He just didn't get to where he should have been. And
so awesome.
I just didn't want to have that
my day every time I see him.
That last end of where he was at, where he should have been something at the end of it, and just didn't make that last step to be where he could have been. Yeah. So that's one of my influences, to not get stuck in that last step and to cross over that last two.
You got to do whatever it takes to get there. Like there was one little thing that was still needed to be done yet. You're going to make sure you're going to make that step.
Yeah, and besides
whatever it is you're doing
outside of that, maybe if powerlifting wise, greatest influences, they're just favorite lifters that I have.
Yeah, absolutely. That's usually with everybody. Whatever they love or passionate about, they have people that
and like Eric Lillibridge, Andre Milanachev, Daniel Bell, David Douglas, because he's also a great father too. Brandon Allen. It's just, and I'm more biased towards like the super heavyweights, but Dan Green, he's also a great father, and it's just those guys that are stronger and have bigger totals than me usually are a great influence on me, because they are at a road that I have not been to yet.
Yeah,
or I'm getting there too. So their performances definitely are inspirational to me, and the fact that my path to where I wanted to go. So I'm always on the lookout for those guys, because damn, how good does it feel to just be that fucking strong?
Well, just think about it though, dude. You are that fucking strong.
I'm like right there.
No, you're not right there. You are right up there with all of them. Like you're hitting numbers that they all hit too. So you are right there with all of them. There's no like you're just about there. You are there. You've been there.
I'm not gonna feel comfortable with myself until I fucking get to that point where like I'm either number 2 or number 1, and I can't be satisfied with number 2.
Well, of course not.
I got
just to be able to be like, well, fuck, I'm pretty much one of the best fucking powerlifters in the world. I'm one of the strongest men out there.
No, at least
your biggest total is what?
2237.
Okay,
that was when I was dying.
So 2237. What's the biggest total right now? Period.
Fuck, Daniel Bell just did it. 2521.
Good fucking God, Daniel Bell.
2521, I think it was.
Dang.
A little over Andre's 2514.
And dude, I'm telling you, I am gonna get Logan to 2400, bro. Even though his lists were sketched and a little high on the squats and stuff with that last meet.
Young.
He's so young, dude. He just turned 25.
He's got time to work on it.
Bro, he's got so much time. Oh my God. And then it's scary how fast his lifts were. Like I'm like, oh my God, you just dusted 900 some pounds. I'm like, what the fuck?
Let's go ahead and carry on to our last deal here, because we got to wrap this up. We have a spicy story.
So yeah.
See if we can get this down in a few minutes here. Spicy story, Dubs.
All right, that's Spicy story. We'll wrap this up. Okay. So yeah, when I was in prison. So you have to go. You first, when you get sentenced and all that stuff, they send you to this first place. It's called D&E, Diagnostics and Evaluation. You have to sit in this fucking prison for up to like 60 days while they evaluate you and determine what facility you're going to get sent to, what security level. Well, I don't know why, but for some reason they sent me to Supermax. Fucking cool. I remember the day, because the guard that was in there, I was kind of cool with him, and he's on my Facebook still today. Me and him talk once in a while. And he, like the day before I was getting transferred, he was sitting down at the desk in our unit, and he wrote on a cup, he wrote Tecumseh. And then he turned the cup around and showed me. And I looked at it and I read it as Tecumseh. And I go, you shit, dude. I got a little scared. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's where you're going. And I was like, I thought he was fucking with me. Sure enough, next morning, boom, they rolled my ass up. And they said, Tecumseh boys. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm going to the big house. I'm going to the big one. Supermax, baby. So anyways, I got shipped there. And then I got there. And then I'm like, just thinking about who's my cellie going to be. Okay, you know, a lot of times at these places, your cellie, you know, God, please give me a good cellie. I get there. My cellie ends up being this 4'9", 4'9" homosexual guy. He was in there for basically aiding and abetting his boyfriend's suicide. His boyfriend was determined to kill himself, and they wanted to record it. And so basically, he was vowing to help his boyfriend, you know, carry out what he wanted to do. Well, I guess in the paperwork his paperwork said that the boyfriend started to struggle. He took a bunch of sleeping pills, and then they wrapped him up in a blanket, and then they put plastic over him. Well, I guess he ripped the plastic off or some shit like that, and then my cellie ended up taking a pillow and suffocating him to death. And then his defense was, well, he wanted to die, so I was making sure he got through with it. So anyways, you know, he tells me all this bullshit story. This is the first night we're in there. You know, he's telling me all about himself, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, he smells disgusting. He doesn't take showers. He doesn't brush his teeth. He doesn't even have deodorant or toothpaste in the room, anywhere. Not anywhere. I was already grossed out. His pits were yellow. I was just disappointed. So he's proceeding to tell me all this about himself and blah, blah, blah. Well, about towards the end of the conversation, he's like, so I do want to let you know that before I go to bed every night, I'm going to need to sit here and masturbate. And I was like, what? You know, I didn't freak out or anything like that. I just kind of played it. I was like, okay. And so he's like, yeah, so if you happen to like hear anything or anything like that, he's like, just give me a few minutes and I'll be fine. He's like, I can't sleep unless I masturbate. Bro,
should have killed him.
I'm telling you what, this sicko, bro, I had to listen to some dude jerk off while I tried to sleep.
Oh my God. You should have fucking smothered him with a pillow.
It's horrible. Dude, it's horrible. Eventually, I finally started being an asshole to him and kept telling me he had to wash it. I forced him to wash his clothes every day. And then I forced him to take a shower every day. I wouldn't even let him come in the room unless he showered. I humiliated. I humiliated this dude. And then one day I told him if he didn't make his bed every fucking day, I was going to throw his shit away. I would throw his stuff away. If you didn't make your bed or put your clothes in the laundry, I'm going to throw it away. Well, one day I got in the cell and his bed wasn't made. I threw all of his shit in the nasty trash can. Oh. All of it. Yeah, dude. And then after that, he went and finally filed a grievance and he got moved into the cell with his boyfriend.
Oh, God. Is this when you were like 250, 260 then?
Yeah, I was big. Dude, this dude was 4'8", maybe weighed $120. And I was like, I'm 6 foot. And I weighed 250 easily because I just got to the pin, so I was still big. And then I started deflating after that. But, bro.
Do you have a beard then too?
Yeah, I had a beard.
Ooh,
I mean, I had a little bit of a facial hair in there, but you didn't want to shave. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't give you beard trimmers or anything. You had to use like fucking straight razor shit. But I had a TV and I had a stereo, I had a CD player and all that shit, all that good shit. And then my second celly I got was a badass. Go ahead.
That's going to be a story we'll save for the next time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it here. And hope you guys enjoyed the Overcome podcast this episode. And we like to let you know that we still have that the 8-week Power Builder program and the 8-week Deadlift program that are out on the website, worldbreakersavage.com. Also, for the coaching, you hit up World Breaker Savage on Instagram or at coach_dubs242.
You bet.
We also have some more programs coming out too, so be on the lookout for those as well.
More programs, nutrition stuff coming out. We got a lot of stuff in the works for you guys. So.
Yeah, so DM us if you have any more questions. All right, we'll see you on the next episode.
Calling you the opening act is a weak metaphor. It's much more like you're just the appetizer. That's right.